Lori. I've been reading for the last couple months, but I just haven't made videos because I haven't been feeling well. Um, but so I feel better. Still not 100%, but I feel better. So I'm gonna talk about what I've been reading for the last couple months, and here they are. So there's 7 books here, but 6 of them were from my 50 before 50 challenge. So making progress there. Um, so I'll just talk about these books in the order that I read them. 3 books go together. It's the Time of Gifts trilogy. You've got the Time of Gifts, Between the Woods and the Water, and The Broken Road by Patrick Lee Firmer. And this is like a travel writing, but it's um I don't know, it's just really it's a lot deeper than just travel writing because um so uh the author Patrick Lee Firmer um set out when he was 18 in 1933 to to walk across Europe. So he lived in England and he started in Holland, and then he walked all the way across, like meandering across Europe on foot. Um, but so this book wasn't published until 1977, and then the next book wasn't published until 1986, and then this book was published after he died in 2014. And these 2 editors, Colin Thurbin and Artemis Cooper, compiled as much as they could into this book. And the whole thing is just really fun to read. It's like just this kid full of, well, he's 18, just full of enthusiasm and excitement for adventure. And then so he has like he doesn't like, I guess I'm trying to think if he does stay in any hotels or anything. But usually I don't think he does. He usually either stays with like some random person that he meets on the road, or like, and then from there, like there's networks, like people know each other through Europe, so then they'll write their friends letters and say, hey, look out for this guy and treat him well. So he was hooked up pretty well the um throughout his time. It took him a year. It took him about a year, almost exactly a year, to walk all the way across. And it's funny, like partway through, he talks about the Orient Express and where he could have taken the train, and he could have made it all the way across Europe by train within just a couple weeks. But he took an entire year, just took his time, and he actually set out in the middle of winter. So I mean, he's pretty tough to walk in winter. He sees all the seasons, and then he follows, like, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just really fun. It's so fun. This account, I just feel like it makes me well, maybe people were nicer back then, but like just like to have some like stranger come up and then have them share your home with them for a couple days. Sometimes he stayed on for like a couple months, and like the niceness and the um the generosity that he experienced throughout this trip. His voyage was just like inspiring. And I mean, there were a couple, like, he did have some shady time. I mean, for the most part, like 90% of the people he encountered were very friendly to him. But there were a couple people that um, weren't as inviting, I would say. But yeah, all in all, um, he had a lot of love and generosity showered upon him throughout the whole trip. And um, I don't know, like just like it's just like such a romantic thing to do, like to like just pull up your stakes and wander around for a year. It makes me want to just sell everything and just go um traveling. Like, but I don't know. I don't know if I would be that. I don't, yeah, I don't think I could just stay with random people. I don't know. I'm not that outgoing. But the funny thing is that so Patrick Lee Firmer was like really comfortable getting to know people, but like he talks about his relationship with his dad, and like his dad he feels very awkward around, and he never really grew up with his dad. He only saw him like occasionally because his dad lived in India um when he was growing up. He'd only see his dad whenever his dad came home to visit. So it's just like there he talks about some times where he just felt really awkward and um just didn't feel like he connected with his dad. Whereas with the random people, he just felt um like an instant connection with. So I don't know what that says. I mean there might be some kind of psychology to go into about that, but I just thought that was an interesting comparison of how he interacted with strangers as opposed to his dad. But I definitely um, love this love this trilogy. It was so fun to read, and um, some of the some of the things that happen in here are like um, unforgettable. I usually don't reread, but I can see myself going back to this in like 5 years and just like getting swept up in the adventure again. So yeah, I'd never heard of this. Like I found the middle book at Goodwill in like a bin. So I got it for like under $1. And then it was the middle book. It was like I just can't read the middle book. So I ordered these two books online. Um so I could um read the whole journey. And um yeah, I'm just glad I found that book. And it's just like I don't know, it's a shame that I've never heard anyone talk about this. It's a shame that no one talks about it because it's just um it's such a good story of, you know, just like all the stuff that he went through when he walked across Europe. There's a couple times where um he took the train at the end, and then um he rode around in a car for a little bit with his friends. But other than that, he mostly walked. Um, So yeah, this is definitely something I enjoyed. And then I can't remember which one I read next. I think I read this one next. So after reading about like Europe, like walking through Europe, I thought that maybe like this novel, Hunger, would be a good like companion read. It's by Knut Hamsun, and it was written in 1898, I think. 1890. Originally published in 1890, and then it wasn't translated until like 1967. So yeah, I just thought it would be a good companion because I guess what I understood was this guy was basically homeless walking around Norway, but I guess he just stayed pretty much in the capital, which it used to be Christiansen, or no, Christiana, but it's now Oslo. So yeah, he stayed. He had a place to stay, but he was basically like a starving writer. Um, and I don't know. I really liked this book too because it was well, I guess well the writing was really good, and it just I really I don't know. I can't remember why. I mean, I remember really liking it, but like so it's just like the struggle to survive as a writer, basically. And like he doesn't make it easy for himself because he could like throughout the narrative, he could ask for help and he could, you know, get food from like the homeless shelter and stuff like that. But he um just he wants to play life on hard mode, I guess. So I mean throughout most of it, like he's pretty wacky, like kind of like off. Um which I don't know. I guess that um he seems off but harmless. But like there's a part in here where I really felt like I didn't like him anymore. And then uh I don't know. It's it's hard to say why I like this so much. It's just I guess it's just because it's really well written. Like it's really like gets into the psychology of someone who is on a mission and is desperate, I guess. So, but there's one thing like on the back, like I really hate it when like the book is spoiled by like the blurbs on the back and like the blurb on the back of this book gives away the ending. So like you're kind of waiting for um that event to happen that is talked about in this book, and it takes away the tension of what the struggle is with this writer because you know what's going to happen, so you're just waiting for that to happen. And so if you pick this up, just I guess just go in blind and not read any of the blurbs or the I guess synopsis of it, because you know it I think my enjoyment of it was spoiled by getting spoiled. So but I still liked it. And but so earlier this year I listened to Karl Ove Knausgaard's My Struggle series, and he talks about this book, and then I didn't really know about the the story behind Knut Hamsun, but in My Struggle, uh, Karl Ove Knausgaard talks about how Knut Hamsun, um, honored Hitler, and he made him sound like he was a Nazi. And then, like, after looking into it, like, I don't know, I don't remember if um Knausgaard talks about the Nobel Prize for Literature, but um as I was going, like, digging deeper into this, like, yeah, uh Knut Hamsun won the Nobel Prize in 1920, and then he gave it to Goebbels. Yeah, but so I felt really uncomfortable, like, liking this, because, you know, like, if this guy was like hardcore Nazi. Um, so I wanted to know more about him, so I um got this book. It's called On Overgrown Paths, and it's a little memoir written by Knut Hamsun about his time um um what after he got arrested. He was arrested in after the war because um they considered him like a traitor. So um this this is actually really heartbreaking, because he's like a frail little old man. I think he's like in his 80s, and he's like almost completely deaf. He can't hear people, and people don't talk to him because he can't hear. And then, like, partway through this, um he starts to lose his vision too. So he's just like a disabled old man. And yeah, I just feel bad for him. And then, like, throughout this, he was arrested in like 47, 45. Yeah, he was arrested in 45, and separated from his wife. And then they held him like for a few years. I think his trial was in 47, but like they held him for like over 2 years, almost 3 years, without a trial. And um, I just felt bad for him. I mean, even if he was a Nazi, I just feel like he should have been able to have his trial, like, either like stayed at home until his trial was done, or have his trial like within like a couple months of being apprehended. So, but there was it's a very short book, but there was like parts in here that reminded me of hunger, like the asceticism. Like he's um he's a sufferer. Like he does what he's told and doesn't really complain. And then, like, like his boots were falling apart, and I guess his family sent him some new boots, but instead of using the new boots, he just tied up his old broken boots, and then like for exercise, he would like crawl up crawl up and down this hill that was in the back of the place where he was being kept. It's just like the whole World War II thing is pretty complicated. Like after I read this, I did a little more research and I found this article in the online called the Norwegian American, and it was written in January 2023. And in that article, it kind of like explained like like he met with Hitler, and that made it sound like without knowing the context and what was said, it made it sound like he was like a supporter, and um but like he met with Hitler and he wanted to like get the guy who was like running um Norway like removed because he was being so brutal to the Norwegians. So he pled his case to Hitler to try to get better treatment for Norwegians. And then in the article, it said that he didn't get, he didn't get his way in that regard, but like he was able to negotiate to get two Norwegians released from um, Nazi custody. So, um, and then he was like in this book, he was talking about how he was sending a lot of telegrams, like to um, I'm not sure to who, like to Hitler or to whoever's in charge, so that he could get some more people released from there was, I guess there was a concentration camp in Norway, and so he was trying to get people released from the concentration camp. So in the article, they said that uh, Knut Hamsun um, went deaf in 1930. So he was pretty like um, disconnected from like the world. Like it sounded like his family kind of um, sheltered him from what was going on. So, he only got his information, he only got limited information. So, whatever information he got, it, he was under the impression that Germany was going to help Norway, and he didn't know about the atrocities against the Jewish populations. And he didn't condone it because he wasn't aware of it. I mean, he might have, he knew about the concentration camp in Norway at the very end, and that's when, he was making all those requests. But I'm not making excuses for him, but I think the whole situation's a lot more complicated than just, oh, anyone who supported Nazi Germany was evil. Because, if it was just five guys who were you know, trying to hatch this evil plan to exterminate all the Jews and to take over the world, it wouldn't have gotten very far. Like it, there was a lot of widespread um, support globally and in Germany, and that, I mean, there was a lot of that talking here because, like, in the time of gifts, like when he walked through Germany, there was like all the stores were like filled with pictures of Adolf Hitler, and they were cheering, like talking about how handsome he was, and um yeah, the Germans really um they did support um the Nazis. Like it was wildly popular. I mean, if you like see old footage, like there's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people just cheering and like elated to be a Nazi. So yeah, I just feel like this Knut Hamsun was treated unfairly, and but he handled it um like a trooper. I mean, he just he endured, and he wrote this book, and then I don't think he lived only a couple more years after he published this book. So the last few years of his life, um, he was subjected to, you know, being confined, and like he talks about how he was at like where did he go first? I can't remember. I think his wife went to prison, and then he went to like a hospital, and then after the hospital he went to an um old person home. And then but while he was at the old person home, they took him out to psychiatric facility, and at that psychiatric facility he did not have a good time, and he says that he like deteriorated a lot from that traumatic experience. So it's, you know, separating the art from the artist, but also like I don't think he was evil. It doesn't sound like he's evil in here. I mean, it's hard to have compassion for like someone who supported the Nazis, but he was, I feel like he was unaware of all the atrocities. He even said in here that he never advocated for any harm to come to Jewish people. I guess that's all on Knut. I think like Hunger is really good, and this is really good. So he's definitely an author I still want to read. He's got other books other than this. This is just his most famous book, but I'll keep reading him. People make decisions, and they're not always the right decisions. It's not like he actively he didn't actively go out to hurt people, and he actually worked really hard to try to um save some lives. So that's all I want to say about that. And then so those books were like the Patrick Lee Firmer book and the Knut Hansen book were about guys like walking around, wandering around by foot, and then so I thought a good contrast would be to read this Larry McMurtry Roads. So this is like a travel diary or travel log about all these different like legs of trips that Larry McMurtry would take, but he did it differently. He would like fly in somewhere and then drive and then fly back, or no, he would fly out somewhere away from home and then he would drive back to Texas. So this book compared to those other books paled in comparison because he didn't really talk about much like about his trip. He just mostly talked about like things that happened outside of his trips and when he did talk about his trips, he was pretty negative the whole time. Like he complained about the driving and the road conditions, and one part in here he went and visited the house of Ernest Hemingway, I think in Florida, and he like so Larry McMurtry has like a bookstore. Well, he did. He passed away, but while he was um writing this, he ran his bookstore, and so I guess he had hyped himself up to see Ernest Hemingway's house, and all he did was like put down Hemingway's library. He's like, oh, it looked like just like thrift store books or whatever. Which, I mean, what's wrong with thrift store books? I mean, I guess he thought that Hemingway would have like a more sophisticated library, and he was I don't know. I just felt like he complained a lot in this book, and like all he did was drive. He drove to one place as fast as he could. Like he would drive like 8 or 10 hours a day, like a trucker. Um, so he didn't really talk about the landscapes or anything like the stuff that's fun about travel writing, and he didn't like interact. He hardly interacted with anyone. So it was very different from Patrick Lee Firmer's experience. Like Larry McMurtry was very like closed off, where Patrick Lee Firmer was very social and gregarious, and so I don't know. The writing was okay. I mean, he did talk about some stuff that was written in 2000, I think. Yeah, 2000. But he does talk about when he was down in Louisiana, he talked about how I don't know. I don't know if I should spoil this, but um well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's like travel stuff, but he was down in Louisiana and he like predicted Hurricane Katrina, the devastation of Hurricane Katrina, because he talked about how he one day Louisiana would flood beyond what restraints they had in place, and that's exactly what happened. So I don't know if he was that prescient, or if it was just a well-known fact that their facilities weren't adequate. But yeah, I felt um that was one highlight. And then oh, and then they around like Texas and Southwest, you talk about Border Patrol, And this was like before 9/11, but Border Patrol was still like pretty brutal down there, and he talked about how um people are treated like people, and by Border Patrol. And I guess, yeah, that's like a product of Reagan's war on drugs. I think that's what that's all about. But I really wasn't that interested in Lonesome Dove or any of that, because I'm not really into like westerns. But like reading this makes me feel like I probably won't like it, because I don't like his writing in this. So we'll see. It's not, I don't have that book, so it's not, I'm not gonna run out and buy it, that's for sure. So um I guess, oh, and this is my last book that I read. Um and I just thought this would like go along with um like the Patrick Lee Firmer book, because it's like part of Europe. I don't think he, this is oh, the Houses of Belgrade. The Houses of Belgrade, by Borislav Pakic. Um so this is like written about Yugoslavia. This was written in 1970. I have to admit that as far as I was concerned, Yugoslavia still existed, but I guess it doesn't anymore. Like something happened. I guess maybe it was when the Cold War ended. Yugoslavia no longer was the Yugoslavia. I'm sorry, I don't know the history of that. But anyway, this was written in 1970, and um I didn't realize this would be like such a big contrast to the other books, because this follows the story of a guy um, who owns all these houses in Belgrade. And he, after being traumatized back in like 1941, he never left his house for like 27 years. So he was a shut-in. So he, like, all of his like finances and all of the upkeep of his houses was handled by his lawyer and his wife. Um, but so after 27 years, he he ventures out, because, and he's like, at this point he's 77. So he ventures out because he heard that one of his houses was going to get demolished. So he wants to go out and try to save his house, because he loves his houses like spouses. um he names all of his houses like women, after like female names. Just like, there's so much suspense in this book. It's hard to describe, because you're following this little old guy, um and he's getting ready to do stuff, and you're like just going along with it because he's got these expectations. And then all of his plans, all of his expectations are totally like, don't turn out the way he expected. And it's shocking. Like, the first time it happened, I was like, whoa. That like came out of nowhere. And then so, but it just keeps happening in this book. It's it's pretty sad, and violent book, but it's also funny. It's like um I wouldn't call it a dark comedy, like tragic comic maybe. Is that maybe what that's called when it's like sad and funny at the same time? But so like when it starts out, you're pretty neutral about him, but like throughout the um events and his memories and stuff, you find out more about this guy, and it's pretty disturbing. And there's things in here that I don't understand because I don't know the history of Yugoslavia. And then there's also things in here that are unsaid that aren't resolved, which usually drives me crazy, but it's just a really good book. And I'm glad I think I found this. I think I found this at a Goodwill bin too. Just like digging through all the books and garbage, I found this and the Time of Gifts book. And it's just like, if I hadn't um found them in the bin, I never would have read it. I mean, I don't hear people talk about this book, and it's so good. That's another author I'm gonna look out for. And I might even like order some of his books. I'd probably order more of Knut Hamsun's books too, because they're such good authors. So yeah, The Houses of Belgrade. I think this is I was looking at like a an article online. I guess this is called like the Pilgrimage of Arseny, whatever his last name is. What is his last name? Oh, Arseny Nagovin. Arseny Nagovin. So I think it's called the Pilgrimage of Arseny Nagovin. That's the original title, but in the English translation is called The Houses of Belgrade. Um, so a lot of these little stickers are like WTF moments because there's a lot of stuff that happens in here that's like, whoa. Like, so there's um an event in 1919. I don't know if it's like it must be during the um World War One. And then there's an event that's in 1941. I guess there's like a riot, um, a student riot. Oh yeah, a student riot, uh, and then after that, Germany occupies Yugoslavia, and then there's another riot in 1968. I'm not sure. It's just another like um revolt uprising, but it has a lot to do with like property ownership and just trauma, I guess. Yeah, that's a big thing. And this is like in 1970, and I don't know if PTSD was recognized at that point yet, but I feel like this was like pretty um pretty ahead of its time in that sense, like ahead of like the mental health field in talking about like how traumatic events affect you and um, and then like the flashbacks and stuff, and just yeah, this was a really good book. I will definitely read more by this guy. Um, so I was going to talk about like my future reading plans in this video also, but this video is already too long, so I'm just going to end it here. And I don't know, I kind of feel like I just rambled a lot in this. I hope you got something out of this. I do recommend these books. I recommend all of these books except for this one wasn't that good. So these other books were just all really good. Yeah, I like these books. I had a really good time reading for the last couple months, and because these books were so good. And you know, sometimes you gotta read a dud once in a while too. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.